Hey, Decathlon Gamer, and welcome back to PCM22 Career Mode, episode 102. We are in our last warm-up before we get into the Grand Tours, and that is the Tour de Normandy. It's already stage number 5 of 6. Our one mountain stage and our short time trial are all that's left in this one. We are well placed with 2 guys in the top 10, and while we were expecting good race day conditions today, it's mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. Behind being sick, Vandenberg actually does have a decent race day condition. We can see that Guzman is supposed to be getting water and has failed to do so. We also have Bach nearly done, and Gonzalez with a really nasty race day condition has been dropping back. Let's go ahead and improve his position. And McKellar's Martinez is holding on nicely. So we have 95 in the Peloton, where some of that has been yo-yoing of late. Breakaway is not far ahead, and guys were tired. The reason why they were tired, if you look down at the mini map, this climb was hard, and it had split the field already. Peloton was down to about 100 as we hit the top. But through the descent and through the secondary descent, the recover was marginal. It was far from complete. Bach and Guzman in particular were not fully recovered by the time we had reached the bottom there. Now, this flat territory usually adds to that. You can get a certain amount of recovery through that type of terrain. Not here. Not here. Piccioni hanging on. Martinez is hanging on. And we want to ride for those two, but I want to see all 4 of them make it over the top of this and get that recovery so that I have all 4 for the final climb. Vandenberg is gone out the back now. And get water as we are right at the top here. Just don't get dropped, man. Don't get dropped. Okay, so 40 left in the Peloton. 1 rider left off the front, down to a minute. The pace through that flat terrain remained high. And the breakaway, which didn't have a large gap to begin with, you can see was already done. Really just the 1 rider that remained out of that. And we chased hard enough that there was no recovery at all on the flat. Things didn't get worse, but no one improved. So the good news on that is that there's definitely going to be guys that are struggling. Now, we need to get these the 2 leaders, and it's not going to be Gonzalez, even though Gonzalez is the highest placed in the overall. 1, he's bad at time trials, but 2, he's got that nasty -3. Piccioni is decent, better than Martinez, so we will ride for him. Definitely not for McKellar. So this extra descent nearly is getting our 2 leaders back on par where they need to be, but not quite. Martinez just about makes it there, so that's good. Gonzalez, we will gel up now. 40. The effort's definitely required to go up a bit here. This is going to take its toll on these guys fairly quickly. And let's hope nobody attacks early on. It's down a minute. He attacks. He's not going to get far enough away. Against my Dragons team, he might be our arch nemesis, but he's not that good here. And he's been caught. We're down to 37. Gonzalez is one of the ones that's been dropped, by the way. Leaving Piccioni alone. Do we want to switch haters out the back? And the group continues to get smaller now, down to 32. Martinez struggling here towards the back end. Piccioni hanging on. Keller gel. With the race day condition, today is definitely mostly about survival, because this climb gets harder, and we're just now at the point where it's about to get harder, and yet our guy's already in pretty sad shape here. So very much a survival mode type stage here. As we're seeing the first attack and response, Iron Spin. And we got a front 6 now, and the chase is definitely not chasing as hard. But it is chasing. Okay, McKellar. McKellar's done. We need to gel up for Piccioni. You're going to see this group drop in half here in a second. Another 4 or 5 guys out the back. No, really just 2. Wow. That's Van Aert. Tollet. Zana. Knox. We got a 79. We got an 80 in there. Got guys hanging on that are not that great, but a lot of really good guys that are struggling here. And Martinez, like I said, nothing in the tank. Ghana, Fisher Black, Vanderpool. Then Gill's struggling to hang on. 2 guys off front with a big advantage. That's McNulty. He's got 80s. Arnsman, 79, 77. You know, if we had better race day condition, we might have been able to go with those guys. But, you know, clearly Martinez does not have anything left to push with. He's just got to survive. So those 2 are running away with the overall here. We're not going to bother with the time trial as a result, which means we are very, very soon here headed for the Giro d'Italia. It's our last warm-up, ending with, well, some not so good race day condition. Martinez, nothing left. Nothing left to respond with. Just survival mode. Finally ready to start the Giro. It's going to open with a time trial, a team time trial. Not the easiest one to address, especially as we have focused more on the mountain stages to come. We have 3 sprint stages following that, and then finally enter the hills. Stage 5, easy enough. Stage 6, likewise, and Stage 7 back in the flat. So the race is really going to begin. Other than that initial time trial, you're not going to see a variation in times until Stage 8, being how good the AI is regarding time trials. We're not going to be in first place, so that's good that the first week we'll be able to sit back and have other teams in that driver's seat. Stage 9 is a pretty decisive one. I don't think Stage 8 is going to make a big difference. It'll eliminate non-contenders, but it definitely won't eliminate any contenders unless they have terrible race day condition. Stage 9 could be a little more decisive with 17K and 5.5%, but still looks only semi-limiting for, you know, medium or slightly higher climbers, but definitely not the elite ones. 11's not a problem, and 12 is a 42-kilometer individual time trial. That's going to really split the field up quite a bit, and more so than anything else. So the 2 time trials are going to be the most decisive part of the first just over half of this race. 14's a mountain stage, and by this point there is going to be some fatigue in the legs, and 12K 6.5%, definitely finishing at 8 or 9% for the last few kilometers will split the field up and could eliminate some contenders by that point, but you would think a lot would still finish together. And finally, stage 15 is 214 kilometers long with 1 climb, and it's 19K, and it's almost 8%, and that will be the most decisive day at that point. The time trial, that's a good day to make up a lot of lost time in the time trials, but it's a day where we could expect to see huge gaps. 16 is much more intense, shorter stage with 3 climbs. That's going to split the field quite a bit, but it won't be massive gaps, you would think. 18 is another big finishing climb, 17K, 7.5%. And by this point, the fatigue should be very high by stage 18. So now you're really getting down to the final few contenders after stage 18. In fact, you could just about have it decided by that point. And then we go climbing in a time trial yet again. Now it's only 7K flat, and then it's one big mountain from there, 19 kilometers, 8%, done solo. But the mountain ratings are going to matter a lot. That could be actually a pretty good day for us, as our base mountain rating is going to be pretty good, and managing that can work out. But that does mean a few of those contenders are going to end up with crazy phenomenal times, and we might end up 5th on the day and, I don't know, lose a minute or something. Stage 20 is your last shot to make something happen because 21 is on the flat. But with 3 time trials along the way and a number of mountaintop finishes all in that last week, that last week is going to be really, really important. As you can see, race day condition wise, we look really strong entering. Gonzalez, low motivation, but a +3. You could see that pick up after a day or two. Garzone, just average for his, but he's already in his fitness peak. So those two will be strong in the first couple of weeks, help us out. They will probably be on the weaker side in the final week. But Bausch, how soon will he hit? Martinez, how soon will he hit? They've got a ways to go, only 61 points. It's going to take a while. The last week, we would hope that these guys are on their fitness peaks. Piccioni is going to look strong after 1 week. Ready to kick off the time trial. Nobody has reached the finish line yet. No one's reached the first time check yet. We're about the 5th team to set off. Bausch looks good. 79 time trial. This is a mix at 21K, but it's more time trial than prologue for rating. Chergai, 73. So not great. So we've got him on a shorter time, but he could do something and then get himself dropped. Gonzalez is okay, and I think mostly Gonzalez need to shorten his time down a little bit as well. McKellar is not going to hang in there terribly long, so he's going to need to be on a short time. But Panamar looks really strong, 77-81 today. Piccioni has fantastic ratings. He's got an 85 prologue and an 81 time trial. It's about an 82 overall. That is absolutely fantastic, and we can keep him on the front actually even longer because he's going to hang in there. 79 for Martinez, 77-82 for Garzone as well. So really good race day condition, which of course we prepared the team well. So can they get up to speed, and what is my overall set at, and do I have it set right? I'm going to aim for about a 90 as we set off. That's an 89. Let's make it a 90 and see if they can handle that. Bausch going first, and everybody getting up to speed. It's going to take a little bit out of the legs, but Bausch now settles in, and everybody else, you're already getting that little bit of recovery, and Bausch peels off the front. Chergai is going to have to go harder when he's on the front. He's not good enough. He's got to just keep up the pace. I don't want him to go too deep. McKellar's already tired. 4 seconds. 91 effort. He's going to get dropped, probably. Peels off just in time. Now Panamar takes over, and the rest of these guys are looking good. Chergai not recovering terribly well, and McKellar might find himself dropped, but we're already 6K in, and I don't necessarily care if he does get dropped or not. Chergai is not keeping up, so Chergai needs to drop out of this thing and go to the back. And McKellar has been dropped. So we're looking now at 6 in the group, and Gonzalez is the weak man here. Piccioni, he is just fine after his effort. That's of course why we saw that drop. Chergai actually just about keeping up here, almost. McKellar's definitely been dropped, but that was it. I think that was Chergai's last chance. And Martinez is fine hanging on, and Piccioni is fine, and we only need 5. We've got 8K to go. So, first time check. Jumbo Visma and us on the same time, well ahead of everybody else. Can we keep it up as we head for the second time check? Gonzalez struggling here. So Gonzalez, I want you to go ahead and drop out of the line. Panamar can close it up. Garzone's hanging on. Okay, I think... Are we going to hang on to this? Are we going to hang on to this? Right now, things are going perfectly, except that I don't necessarily want to win this because it's going to force us to sit on the front for a week. But there's only a couple punchy stages, and you know what? I'd rather win than have to be in second place. It's just going to put us in a dangerous spot to be for a week. But right now, 7 seconds faster than Jumbo Visma and well ahead of everybody else. Looking back at the first time check, Bike Exchange is 12 seconds down. I mean, we are well ahead of everybody else. Jumbo Visma is 53 seconds ahead of Bahrain Victorious. So they've extended that gap by 20 seconds. They've gone pretty quick in that last sector. Let's keep it on the second sector for now. And everybody's looking a little bit tired. So let's back off just a hair. 89. Not quite sure we can pull it in for the last 5K without dropping off just a little bit. Panamar still on the front and needs to get off, and does at the right time. Piccioni is totally fine. Martinez is totally fine, and I actually want Piccioni to lead all the way to the finish line now, and we'll put Martinez in a similar state and just try to pull these guys in. Garzone, can he hang on? Yes, he can. Bausch can hang on, and we're looking at either Gonzalez or Panamar, and we're okay. We are okay. Okay, now we can push back up to a 90. I think we've recovered enough. We've hung on enough. Piccioni, just please don't fall off and suddenly drop back to like 7th position and lose time at the finish line. Okay, checking back in before we cross the finish line. I want to see where we're at. Back the first time check. Lotto Sudal just 5 seconds down. Quick Step just 11. So there are other competitors coming into this thing. That's 10 teams done. That's really only the halfway point. It's not over yet, but Jumbo Visma is theoretically the toughest competitor. Maybe we're not going to be in first place at the end of this, which wouldn't be a terrible thing, but either way, we are having ourselves an excellent race. 99 to the finish line. Piccioni leads us across and hits first place, 8 seconds ahead of Jumbo Visma. 8 seconds ahead. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Over a minute to most of the competitors. Bike Exchange 45 seconds down, so we got 3/4 of a minute. Lotto Sudal 40 seconds. Quick Step 22. There's that same 10 that we already had done. Now we have some new teams that we had not seen yet. Plenty coming just inside of a minute, but for now only 2 competitors closer than half a minute, and we dropped a second. UAE goes to the top. This is almost, the only more ideal situation would be 1 second behind them. The only thing more ideal than what we have, but being in second place is the perfect scenario. The perfect scenario is second place. 1 second down. We're 15 seconds off of that. That was absolutely phenomenal for us. Time trialing is not our great strength, but we had enough guys with good race day condition today that we really, really pulled this one together, and that was one of the best results of the entire season. The other good news is UAE are not a threat in the GC whatsoever. Not at all. They've got Fisher Black, who's just a phenomenal time trialist in a 76.76. And then they got this guy, Alexander Krantz. Oh, okay. Yeah. They've got a big threat. They got our guy. Our guy. The one they stole from us. He's here. Krantz. If we could have paid him. If only. If only. Gonzalez loses 17 seconds, so we got to keep that in mind. Martinez and Piccioni are looking like the strong favorites. Maybe Garzone, but I think Martinez is the guy we kind of need to ride for this race, but maybe Piccioni. He is Italian. It is the Giro. And we move straight into stage number 5 and the final kilometers of it as we go into the 10K banner. I have just formed my punchy sprint train for this one with Bausch out front. Panamar and Chergai are going to go through early on this thing, but we're trying to, establish a good, strong position. These guys have really good flat ratings, these first couple, before we get in there. 7K to go now, and so Bausch is nearly done, having set us up nicely for that one, and we're already down to 6K. So on to Panamar, who's also set at a 96. Bausch will keep up on the back end as long as he can, and we are going to start climbing. So Panamar now 97. And we're going to gel up one by one for these guys. 5K to go. If we can, be nice if we can, win the stage. But realistically, I'm looking more so at just trying to disrupt and make sure we're on the same time. As McKellar pushes it out, 3K to go. Means gel for these last guys. Piccioni, we're not necessarily riding for Piccioni, but I don't know why Martinez is having such a hard time with the pace we're setting here. 2K to go. This might be a Garzone kind of stage now from the looks of it. 1.4. Okay, here comes the attackers. Buitrago, delay. Sprinting it out. Same time for these guys is the important part. And Garzone looks like he might grab a top 3 here. He's certainly in position. He's out of red bar, though. If he can grab 4 more seconds, that's fantastic. Bernal takes the win. Garzone does get 3rd, so he picks up 4 additional seconds. We'll take that. It would have been nice if we can get a win today, but it's hard under 7K to put the real guys like Bernal, who just have absurd combo ratings, plus, you know, the bonuses and probably the objectives, and you throw all of that in, and it's just hard to beat them. So getting on the podium under these circumstances and not losing any time with any of our key guys is important, especially at this early phase of this race. That is going to do it for this episode. That's 5 stages out of the way. We have 1 more punchy stage before a couple more sprint stages, and then we'll already be a week done of this Giro. That punchy stage will come and go very quickly like this one did, and then we'll be focusing in on the mountain stages, and then of course those decisive time trials. Hopefully we'll get into those time trials, get that far in the next episode. That's going to do it for this one, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.